Hi guys, so we are here to pick my next read, and we are going to do it in a little bit of a different way this time, and we are going to actually play the game I Will Not Be Reading. And if you guys remember this from TikTok, I think it was TikTok, it was a trend that was going around where it was like everybody would put where they wanted to go on vacation in a jar, and then they would go through the jar, and each one they would pick out, they would say, we will not be going to Hawaii. And then the next one they would pick out is like, we will not be going to Paris. And then the very last one in the jar is going to be the one that wins and the place that they will be going. So we're going to be doing it with books, and this is going to narrow down what I will be reading next for the next reading vlog. And Emery is going to help me with this. Sorry for the weird angle, but this is the only way I could figure out how to do this. But I picked out 8 books that I'm interested in reading, and we are going to narrow it down. So the first one is Too Beautiful to Break by Tessa Bailey. And I'm in the mood for some STEAM, if you know what I mean, and Tessa Bailey does not disappoint. And I just feel like I haven't read like a really good romance like that in a while, and so I want to read this one. The next one is The Collective. This is by Allison Galen, and it sounds really interesting and really good, so that's that one. And I'm kind of in the mood for a thriller. I haven't read a physical thriller in a really long time, so I've kind of been in the mood for a book like this. The next one is More Than Words by Mia Sheridan. So this one is kind of part of the same companion series as Archer's Voice, and I've been dying to read this one. I think it's just gonna be really, really good, and I keep putting it off. I picked it for so many TBRs, but I just haven't gotten around to it for whatever stupid reason. Then we've got Moonlight Child, which is by Karen McQuestion. So this one sounds really interesting, and I would be really happy to get this one. The next one is Carmilla, and you guys saw this in my last reading, or my last book haul. This is supposed to be super, super good, and plus it's a short story, and it's fall, and I want some fall reads. I'm kind of in the mood for some fall reads. The next one is Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Jillian McAllister. Apparently this is really good. It's kind of like a Groundhog's Day type of situation where she keeps reliving the same day over and over again to like keep her son from committing a crime. Next is My Roommate is a Vampire. The reason I picked this one is because it's fallish sounding, and plus it's a romance. I'm kind of in the mood for a romance. And the last one is one I'm kind of like not too sure about, but I picked it because I just think it sounds cute, but I don't know if this is like if this book is the one I'm most excited for by any means, but it's Nora Goes Off Script. It sounds interesting, and it looks like a really fun, quick, easy read. So all of the books and the titles are in this little jar. And as we pick them, we're going to find out what I won't be reading. Oh. The Moonlight Child, I will not be reading. That one is out, which is sad because I really wanted to read that one. Okay. Ooh, Nora Goes Off Script. That's the one I think I wanted to read the least, so that one was good. That one was good.
Shucks,
I mean, I wanted to read it, but just for like right now, I kind of wanted to read it the least. Okay, so the next book I will not be reading. My Roommate is a Vampire. That one is out. Which kind of sucks because this is so fallish, and I kind of wanted to read it. Oh well. So out of these ones, which one do I want to read the least? I'm gonna say this one. Even though I still really want to read it, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still really want to read it, but if I had to pick, maybe this one? We'll see.
Which one you want to read the most?
This one. Okay, what am I not going to read next?
More Than Words.
Oh, it's this one. That sucks. I wanted to read this one so bad. Which one am I not going to read? Carmilla. I will not be reading Carmilla. I was kind of looking forward to this one, to be honest. I think this sounds so good. So I have 3 left.
So yeah.
Okay, let me decide which ones. So I think I want to read one of these 2 the most. I will not be reading Wrong Place, Wrong Time. This one is going bye-bye. But both of these could be good. We've got a romance and we've got a thriller. So either of these could be good. I'd be happy with either. Like, I still want to read this one, but which one am I not going to read?
So you're not going to read this one?
Not this one, huh? Okay. Too Beautiful to Break by Tessa Bailey. This is... I'm excited for this one. I think I'll like it. You guys know how I feel about Tessa Bailey, and this is an older book of hers, and I tend to like Tessa Bailey's older work a little bit more than her newer stuff. So like I said, it sounds like a swoony man, which I really, really like a guy that will do anything to keep her, and I just think that sounds really good. And I love the epic road trip plotline. I think that'll be interesting because I don't really read a lot of like road trip books. I don't know if I ever have, to be honest. So that sounds kind of interesting as well. So we'll see if this is good. I'll let you guys know, and you guys can watch me read it, and I'll update you guys all of my thoughts. Okay, you guys, so I am about 92 pages into Too Beautiful to Break, and this book is really interesting, okay? So part of the reason why I picked up this book to begin with is because it kind of talked about how the main love interest is like kind of overprotective, and I love a good overprotective like love interest, right? It's just something that I really like in books, and so I was like, okay, that sounds like something I'll like. But one thing that I've noticed that Tessa Bailey does sometimes in her books, which is great, I guess, because it just kind of delivers certain books to certain types of people, but one thing that she does tend to do is she will take a trope that like maybe a small group of romance readers like, and she will literally write a book that is so over the top in that specific trope to like really deliver to that group of romance readers. You know what I mean? It's like she's not pandering. I wouldn't say that's the right word. She's just writing a very, very, very over the top romance in that specific trope. And that's kind of what this book feels like. It's kind of like I'm going to write the absolute most overprotective love interest that I possibly can, to the point where it's like just a little bit overkill. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what this book is. So if you like that trope, or you like that type of love interest, like the overprotective guy that like always worries about, you know, his girl and all that kind of thing, and he wants to take care of her, and like literally every single tiny little sound that she makes, he will like run to her side and be like, is everything okay? Like, that's the type of guy this is. And at times it does feel a little just too much. I feel like it kind of feels a little bit like suffocating, and it kind of does go into that, how the main character does find him suffocating, and that she's kind of talked to him about it, like, listen, you need to like back off. And the thing about this book is he has anxiety, like really bad anxiety, and he has kind of used Sage, the main character, as like his comfort. Like, she knows how to comfort him correctly. She knows how to like lower his anxiety and things like that. And she's kind of become his like security blanket, sort of. And it's kind of gotten to this point where she can't really like live a normal life because he constantly uses her to like calm his anxiety down. But a lot of what his anxiety stems from is her being like in danger or something happening to her. And so it's like this really weird, like codependent situation. So she has to go back to her hometown because she has to deal with something really crappy that she got herself into in her hometown. And she does not want to tell him what this thing is because it kind of isn't the safest situation. And she has to like do some things that she know would cause him tons of anxiety. So she decides not to tell him. She just says that she needs space, that he's a little bit suffocating. They need to kind of like have some distance from each other. And he has a really hard time with that, but then he finds out what it is that she has to deal with at home. And so he goes and he wants to like fix the problem for her. So this is one of those interesting things where this could be considered kind of like toxic in a way. Like, if you're somebody that finds like the overprotective love interest to be toxic pretty often, then you're not going to like this at all. Like, you're going to read this and you're going to be like, like, this is just a little much for me. And it is. Like, she went for it in this book fully. But it's kind of like fun to read at the same time. Like, if you like the overprotective love interest, then you're gonna probably enjoy this. Just know it's like to the 11th, 12th, 15th degree. So I don't know. I'm kind of like mixed feelings on it. Like, it's one of those books too that you get through really fast. Like, I'm reading this book really fast, it feels like all of a sudden you're like really far into it and you feel like you haven't been reading for that long. So it's like one of those interesting books where you really do get through it pretty quick. Like, a lot of stuff is kind of happening and the pacing is really well done, I think. But it's just very much for a specific audience, and I could see a ton of people not liking this and probably honestly finding it problematic. But she does kind of talk about the problematic elements in it, right? Like, she's not sitting here saying like this is okay. Like, she's really trying to show that, you know, you can't like do this to people. It is suffocating and you need to like create boundaries, and that's kind of like what the main character is doing. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see where this goes, if the main love interest can like get control of his anxiety and things like that. So it's for a very, very, very specific audience, if that makes sense. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. So this book is funny because the whole plot is kind of weird. Like, here's another thing about Tessa Bailey that I've noticed is she comes up with the weirdest plots sometimes, and like you have to sometimes suspend your disbelief a little bit or just kind of be like, okay, this is kind of weird, like just random and unrealistic sort of. And this plot is totally like that. Like, it's just funny to me sort of in a way. But that's how Tessa Bailey kind of writes. Like, if you've read a lot of her books, her plot lines are random. Like, she comes up with the randomest things. And maybe that's what makes her books interesting to me. Like, even though I know that they're extremely unrealistic and kind of corny, at least they're interesting and they're, like, unique. And I can definitely give this book that, I guess. It's just a unique, kind of weird plot. But it just kind of makes me laugh. Like, some of these, like, scenes, I'm like, really? Come on. I think you just have to know that going into some Tessa Bailey work. You know what I mean? That some of the storylines are just kind of funny. Okay, you guys, so I'm going to do a little bit of Halloween decorating because I am just in the mood to decorate for Halloween early. I think this is probably the earliest I've ever decorated for Halloween, but there's just something that's like calling me to decorate. If you didn't notice, I dyed my hair about a shade darker. This is just a simple 4N. And I just wanted to go darker. I was feeling like my hair was looking really drab. And when I go dark, sometimes I feel like it just looks really, really rich. And so that is what I did. But before I start reading my book again, I've kind of not been in the reading mood, I'm not gonna lie. There's been something about me lately that's been very distracted. Like, I'm just not able to like focus on reading, or it's like I just don't want to sit down and read. I don't know what it is, but I really want to read a good chunk of my book tonight because it's not that I'm disliking the book. The book is fun. It's just for some reason, like, my main focus the last few days has not been reading. It's been like other things. So I don't know. But I do want to read a big chunk of it tonight. But before I do that, I want to do a little bit of decorating and kind of get my house all nice and cozy and just make it feel just kind of Halloween-y, or at least a little bit fallish. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'll take you guys along with me while I do a little bit of decorating. And yeah, so I'm gonna do that, and then I will kind of let you guys know what I've been thinking about my book and my thoughts on it. just filmed my entire review of this book and I forgot to press the record button. So that's great. So I just finished Too Beautiful to Break by Tessa Bailey, and I'm so torn on this one. I think I'm going to give it like a 3.5. I personally kind of liked it, but like at the same time, it was a little much for me at times. Like, I don't know. So this is like top tier, like obsessive. Like this man is possessive. He's very brooding, but like it's not like just being like overprotective. This is like for those girls that like a little bit of possessiveness sprinkled in to their overprotectiveness. You know what I mean? Like a little bit overbearing. He's very much like completely in Sage's business all the time, to the point where he feels very suffocating. But like I said, the author was trying to do that. Like Tessa Bailey was trying to make it so like the main character was kind of pushing away, kind of saying, you're suffocating me, like we need a healthier relationship. And even though at times I was like, gosh, this is so like uncomfortable, like he's just too over the top with his affections, it was also like kind of hot at the same time, I'm not gonna lie. And I can't deny the fact that I love this kind of guy in a book. Like this is a book, this is not real life, because I know in real life this type of behavior would be really, really weird and like a huge turnoff, but like in a book for some reason it's really hot. I don't know. So yeah, I think I'm gonna give this like 3.5 stars. The thing about this book though too is it doesn't have a road trip in it. Like I thought it was gonna have a road trip in it, but it doesn't. But this is, I think, a third book in a series of 3 books, and I just happened to read this one like completely out of order. And so I think that there's a lot about like some of the side characters that I didn't know, you know, like I think they had previous books of like getting together with their people, but like I didn't know their characters at all. So at the very end of this book, there was like a bunch of wrap-up scenes about like the side characters. And don't get me wrong, you don't see the side characters actually that much in this book. You just only see them at the end. But they did get wrapped up a lot, like what they were doing with their lives. And I'm like, I don't know who these characters are. Like, I do not care about what these characters are doing with their lives. Like, I just skimmed those paragraphs because I didn't know the characters very well. And I think if I would have read the other books, I think I would have like known them a little bit better, and I probably would have felt more attached to them. But I would say 3.5 stars for this. Honestly, do you know what this feels like? This feels like Fated Mates, but in a contemporary novel. Like it has that vibe. Like, you know how Fated Mates in fantasy feels like really passionate, like they're so in love with each other, like to the point where they're like almost obsessive of each other because they just love each other so much, because that fated mate bond just like brings them together so deeply. That is what this feels like. Like their love for each other is like passionate. You know what I mean? Which is really hot as well. Like I love really, really, really strong romance in books and love in books, and this definitely has that aspect to it. And I do feel like even though the plot was just completely stupid, I'm sorry, the plot was really stupid in this book. Like the entire thing could have been solved in a million different ways, and she just didn't do it that way. And I think she wanted the stakes to feel higher in this, you know, because it's hard to do high stakes in a contemporary novel unless there's like a lot of crime and stuff. And so I think that she wrote this plot as absurd as she did because she wanted the stakes to feel higher, because she really wanted Belmont to be like the hero, like he comes and like saves the day and all that kind of thing. So yeah, so if this sounds interesting to you, I think that you could probably like it, but if that sounds completely not up your alley, don't read it. I didn't hate it. Like I was entertained the whole entire time. Like yeah, it felt a little corny at times and just this plotline seemed absurd, but I was entertained the entire time, which is saying a lot. So I think that's it, guys. I hope you liked the Halloween decor stuff that I put in here. I actually plan on doing a few more things because my girls love Halloween and they really love like decorating for Halloween. And I got a new Halloween blanket that I'm going to lay out. And then I also ordered a print of like a witch. And I'm going to put it in one of my frames that's on my wall out there. So it's going to be like a witch painting instead of like just the regular painting that I already have in there. So I'm going to switch that out. And I feel like it's going to make my house look a little bit more Halloween-y, which is going to be fun. So anyways, that is it, you guys, for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.